Okay, math is very easy. Just many people find math is hard, but I think maybe some problem from your teacher. So some teacher tell you don't need memorize some formula, but it's very important. You should memorize the formula, but you should add then you should know the logic. Otherwise, if you memorize many formula, you will forget. You may mess them up. So today, I tell you how to prove the derivative of sine. So we do that. Why? We use the definition to find that. But it's very easy. The formula we take derivative of sine x. It's very easy. But if you don't understand, you will forget. This y formula okay, but it's a lot of formula. You should adapt them use the logic. So we do that use the definition. Derivative of sine x is like this. So lim third x approach 0. So here sine x plus delta x, and this is the definition, minus sine x over delta x. So now we solve this. We open this part here. Okay, this part we open it. Lim delta x approach 0. It's approach 0, not 0. So we know, for example, we know the formula very famous function like this. Another one, sin x over x, lim x approach. This different. I just give you an example. This different equation approach 0. So about this one, so when x approaches 0, what's the value for this one? The graph is here. Y equals sin x over x. The graph is here, but here is circle. Here x, here y, here is 0. X cannot be equal 0 if x equals 0, because 0 this position is the denominator, so it's undefined. But the graph is here, so it means 1. Here is 1. The x approaches 0 from left and from right. The value should be 1, but it's only approach, but it's not x, so it's not 0. So when you remember this one, you can get from the squeeze theorem, or just remember this graph means it's close to 0 but not 0, but the value is 1, so this solution should be 1. Okay, now we solve this today's problem. So lim delta x approach 0, so we open this, sin x cosine delta x plus cosine x sin delta x minus sin x over delta x. Okay, now we write here. Here sin x, here have sin x. We take them together. Delta x equals 0, so sin x cosine delta x minus sin x plus cosine x times sin delta x over delta x. So here the common factor sin x, we take them out. So about this we can make two parts. This one. Okay. Then lim delta x sin x cosine delta x minus 1 delta x plus lim delta x approach 0 cosine x times sin delta x over delta x. Okay, this part we can say sin x delta x over delta x. This when delta x approach 0, the value should be 1. We get this part from this part. It's 1. We get from squeeze zero theorem of the graph. So this one, now we change them. We cannot substitute delta x inside because we delta approach 0. So if we put 0 here, they become put 0 and the denominator that identify. We cannot do that, but we can change their form. This part cosine delta x minus 1, we make a numerator and denominator same time we time something. Time cosine delta x plus 1 delta x time cosine delta x plus 1. And here we take down. So here's 1. So here the value, this part is cosine x. And here is the cosine delta x squared minus 1. So over delta x time cosine delta x plus 1 plus cosine x. And here again, we know the 1. Sin x squared plus cosine this delta x, okay, delta x squared equal 1. This is the formula. We must know that. So if it, after you watch my video, if it's something you don't understand, you can write a comment. So I can explain to you. This is another formula. We must use that. So you know that there is some trouble. When you calculate, you don't memorize some formula. You cannot do that. So formula you must memorize, but there is some method. That means you remember the formula use logic. So here, name delta x approach 0, sin x cosine delta x square minus 1. We change to sin delta x plus cosine delta x square. Okay, so don't forget this one, plus cosine x delta x time cosine delta x plus 1. And here, now we open this. So cosine delta x, they be cancelled when we open this parenthesis. So only remain sin delta x squared. So here, sin x delta x and this delta x. So we can rewrite this part. Okay, now we can find here delta x, sin delta x. So we know that this should be 1. This part with this part is 1. So only remain this part. So we insert 0. Now we can insert 0 to sin delta x. We do that. Sin delta x is 0. Negative 0 is 0. So times 0. And here, cosine 0, delta x is 0 here. Delta x is 0. So that means cosine 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 plus cosine x. So the solution is cosine x. So this why we write that. So the formula, this formula we get that from definition is we need a long time, but we must know that where this formula come from. If you don't know, you remember many things in no logical relationship in your brain. So if there's a lot of formula in your brain, you will mess up.